So, hello Mavericks, good evening. I hope you all are enjoying your weekend. So, this seems like our plan for today. We'll have a quick session on GraphQL, and post that, we'll have a discussion around your expectations and our plans for this ServiceNow Maverick group. Okay, so let's begin with our topic. Why GraphQL? ServiceNow started supporting GraphQL from Paris release only, but as per my knowledge or as per my sources, they earlier had plans from Orlando, but then they kept it for Paris. Okay, so a bit about myself. I am 26-year-old ServiceNow consultant working at Cognizant. My day job includes helping clients to resolve their business challenges through ServiceNow. I'm also a Google Hall of Famer. Other than this, I ran a series called Journey to Stars. So you must have joined. Many of you, I can connect that. Many folks are from that thing only. Okay, so after that, in that series, we usually asked ServiceNow experts to join our sessions and allow people to ask their queries directly. So you can cross question them, share your thoughts. As you know, initially Journey to Star series we used to manage through Google Forms and Excel. So you can say this ServiceNow Mavericks is a digitally transformed version of Journey to Star series. Rest, if you want to connect, LinkedIn is the perfect place, and I do write some blogs as well. So for this session, you don't need any prior knowledge of GraphQL, but idea on REST is at least required. So let's quickly read through these definitions. So I'll just give you 30 seconds, just read that through. Okay, so I seriously doesn't understand this, what exactly this is. So it was like a bouncer for me as well. So let's understand this in simpler terms. So anybody in our group having any birthdays, anniversary, or any special thing coming in next few weeks, you can just unmute yourself and let us know. We'll celebrate that. Anyone? Hello. Come on, Corona has literally fucked us, every one of us. So it can't be possible that we don't have anything in October. Okay, forget about it. So let's understand it in this terms. So imagine, let's do one activity. I am audible, right? I am not getting any response from your sides.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's quickly do one exercise. Okay, so
Sorry, Dhruv, I was not able to unmute. It is actually all frozen.
yeah, man, all of the snowman. Yeah, you just do one activity. Okay, I'll give you an example of REST versus GraphQL. Okay, so just close your eyes and imagine a scenario where you are going to attend a party. Okay, so let it be Pankaj, we are celebrating your wedding anniversary. I don't know when it is coming, but now we are celebrating your wedding anniversary. I hope you won't mind.
It's my pleasure, Dhruv. Yep, I don't mind. Thank you.
Okay, so Pankaj, imagine you are going to attend Pankaj's wedding. So it's happening in one of the lawns. So just imagine a big lawn that you are entering. It's night time, green grass. You can see lots of different sections in that lawn that has some DJ on the right hand corner, food section, and maybe a barbecue section. So let's assume that on the left hand side there is one barbecue session. Okay, so you went in there, you see 10 counters in that section, one for maybe a pizza section, paneer tikka section, aloo tikki section, anyone. Okay, so you decided to go for paneer tikka. Let's take paneer tikka. You get that thing and you brought it on your table, and before eating you don't like to eat tomatoes and capsicum, so you separate that out and you start eating the rest of stuff, that paneer and onion. So this is what we call rest. Okay, so you first identified the section that, okay, I want to go to that barbecue section, so you went to that section, then you fetch the list of all the options that you have, and then you choose one option, and at the client side, that is your table, you decide that, okay, I just want onions and paneer, I don't want capsicum or tomatoes. So this is rest. So let's assume a graph. What would be GraphQL? So as we are part of ServiceNow Mavericks leadership team, so I had a dinner directly with Pankaj. We were eating on the same table, and a waiter comes to me and asks me, what you want? I said I want paneer tikka but without tomato and capsicum, and I want a Coke without ice. So he brought those things directly to me. This is GraphQL. Okay, so I hope that difference, that activity would have given you a brief idea about the difference between REST and GraphQL. So now let's understand it through one of the classic examples that we have, that when you go on internet you will find this example a lot. Okay, so in this example where we have two endpoints, one to give you a list of authors and other to give you a list of books written by a particular author. So I'll just glide this thing and I'll get a list of authors like Chetan Bhagat and some other authors as well, where we have various attributes like name, ID, age, state, and lots of stuff. And then if I have to select the books written by Chetan Bhagat, then I'll just copy this ID and will pass on through this endpoint URL. So when I hit that, I'll get a response of something like this, where I'll get the list of books written by Chetan Bhagat, like 5 point someone or other thing. It will also have certain attributes like its own ID, author ID, name, and pages, and it can have various other things. So if I have to go for another book, then I have to again do the same activity for other people as well, other authors as well. Whereas in GraphQL, I'll decide there would be a single endpoint, that is /GraphQL, and I'll decide I want the responses in this format, where I want the authors list, where I'll just want the names, and I want the books written by them, and in that also I just want the name. So when I hit this, it will give me this response, Chetan Bhagat, then his books, and then other author, then his books. So this is one of the examples of classic example of GraphQL. Okay, so GraphQL has lots of advantages over REST. So in this session we will discuss three main advantages that I feel are the game changers. So let's have a look on one of them. So let's start with network performance. Okay, so for this, say you have a user resource on the backend which has lots of records like first name, last name. These are various attributes that we can have. Just imagine, consider it as a sysuser table that we have, okay, where we have different fields other than email, department, etc, etc. And on the client end side, we just want a couple of those like first name or last name. Okay, so making a REST call on the user's endpoints give you a list of all the fields of the user, and the client only uses the one it needs. So as you can see, there is some clearly some data transfer wastage, okay, which might be a consideration on mobile client. So those who don't know what GraphQL is, GraphQL basically is a Facebook product. Okay, I guess if you remember in 2012, I guess I would be in class 12th or I was about to start my college. So at that time Facebook was at its peak, but the app that they launched was seriously suck up everything. I mean, it was very bad, the response was very bad. So when they analyze it, they found that there are lots of requests that they are simultaneously making to the APIs. Like they went on to fetch the friends, then they fetch the events of each friend, and also they are fetching my events that are coming, feeds and all these things. So they come up with something called GraphQL, and they publicly released it in 2015 or 2016, that we can check. Okay, so what GraphQL does is by default fetches the smallest data possible. So if it's like if I only need first and last name, that thing user needs to specify in its query. I'll show you one example in the system itself. So let me go over here, GraphIQL. Okay, so the interface that you are seeing is called GraphIQL, which is just like a REST API Explorer. Maybe you can consider as Postman, but it is not that advanced as Postman, but I use it for GraphQL. On the left hand side of the interface, you will see where we type this query. Okay, if you see that I have written query users first name last name. Okay,
I think Dhruv, you can just maximize and show. Actually, it's a bit.
okay.
Thank you.
Is it visible now?
Yep. Now perfectly all right.
Okay, so if you can see, this is the query that I have written. So it is returning this thing. Let me just run it. So if you for the let it load, let me see what it is bringing on. So if you can see, I have two users. I asked for their first name and last name. It has given me this thing. Okay, so if we wanted to add email as well, suppose I want email as well, so I just need to do this thing, and it will bring in email as well. Okay, so this is something that I really like. So let me just go back to the presentation so that we can see what else we have in this slide. Okay, so if you remember in our ServiceNow as well, there is one property of while configuring REST messages, we can configure the attributes we want. I mean, this could be an alternative, the alternative that REST provides, that where we can select the fields that we want. Okay, but that makes query look very bad and hardly any readable resources. So it becomes really tough handling those attributes when you have other parameters as well, like status, or you want to create it, sort it by any order, sort direction, or include projects or anything. Those attributes are added to REST API as a patch to initiate a query language, whereas GraphQL is above all a query language. Okay, which make request concise and precise from the beginning. Okay, so let's imagine this one of the projects that simple project that we can assume. So consider there are three resources: users, project, and task. User has these fields, attributes, project, and task. So a user can have n number of projects, so 1 to n mapping basically, and each project can have more than one task. Okay, so here are some of the endpoints that we have put on REST endpoints. You can say that if I want the list of users, we have one endpoint called get users, and if I want to fetch a particular detail about a user, we can say get users and that ID. And if I want to fetch the projects related to that user, then I can just do it this thing. So you can assume it as one of the APIs that you can consume. Okay, so things get trickier when things become more complex. For example, let's get that this example, that get user ID projects. Okay, endpoint. Say I want to show only the project title on the home page, but project and task on the dashboard without making multiple REST calls. So how would I do that? That is a problem. So it is a common practice to add it through this thing, to include task owner. I mean the fields that you can assume that task has these fields. So I'll use this additional include parameter to do that. Okay, but this make it's highly unreadable, really tough to handle this. So in this one approach that we can think of is like create one endpoint for projects as well directly, where you can configure based on user ID and task. Okay, but this is will be beneficial when you have one-to-one mapping, but this thing will become really tough to handle when mapping would be end-to-end. I mean, multiple projects, multiple users can work on, and multiple IDs, multiple tasks. So design choice become very complicated. How GraphQL can help us? GraphQL basically uses include approach everywhere. Okay, so we don't have to use this parameter it by default in GraphQL, which makes it syntax very simple to fetch complex and powerful data. So let me give you an example. I'll try to fetch all the projects and tasks from user ID with user ID 1. So let me just see if I have that query written quickly. I'll just copy that thing if I have that thing handy. So yeah, I should have this thing. So let me run it through this thing. So you can see how easy it had been. Like, I'll just pass on those things and I get the projects like name, for example, migrate from REST to GraphQL, all the tasks that are under this thing, and similarly another project whose name is create a block and task under it. Whereas if I have to do this thing through REST and the endpoints that we have configured using the best practices recommended on REST, it would have been really tough for us, and assume how it would have been for developers. And there's no if you can see, I haven't changed the endpoint. I am still hitting the same thing, same endpoint, different results based on your query. This is what GraphQL is. So let's move forward to the third and the last advantage. Okay, so whenever we are building a backend, we always start by trying to make the API as widely usable by clients as we can. Okay, but again, client, what exactly client wants is to call less and fetch more. That is the ideology behind every if you talk to any mobile developer who is consuming API, he wants that he should not make more API calls, but still he would be able to get much more data. So with this thing, so we have to include deep includes, partial resources, filtering, request. This become very tough. Okay, so other solution that we can think of is like creating custom endpoint for everything, like for every kind of user, like we have in Netflix or Netflix, and I guess Netflix have started using combination of REST and GraphQL, but initially they had these three columns where they had user, and based on the user's device we had the API configured in the backend. If it is coming through mobile device, then they have a different set of database. Then if he is coming through other screens, then that was there. But all of these would require an extra effort from our side, from the developer side. Okay, basically GraphQL gives you more power to the client. If the client needs complex requests, it will build the corresponding queries itself. So just imagine how quick it would be while configuring the REST APIs. You don't need to reconfigure any endpoint or anything. Endpoint will stay same, and the client who's client here is the developer who is designing the mobile application, and he's the consumer of the API of that we have in the backend. So it gives you the power to decide what exactly you want. So if I want only the first name and the last name, then why I would write the query to fetch email and department other fields. So this is what we have as GraphQL. So there are lots of features that we haven't discussed about in this presentation, because the main motto of this was to introduce you to GraphQL. Okay, and in ServiceNow it is very easy to configure GraphQL. Basically, if you have, but before working on GraphQL, you need the idea on how GraphQL is basically. So what ServiceNow does as a platform, it gives you fields where you just put on your endpoints and everything, just like we did while configuring the REST messages. Whereas if you want to consume API, you need to write code. So that ServiceNow does for you. So if you want any example, you can refer to docs, and I'll share one of the sessions as well, so that you can refer. So this ends up with our session.